gentlemen. You are now watching itsmontez.com. And I hope that you've come to this channel looking to get more knowledge. Ladies and gentlemen, just give up for the second. I'm trying to get out of my screen share. Like I said, it's Montez from itsmontez.com. I'm sitting here and I've got this really, really good interview. Right now, you're going to get inside the mind of knowledge, because this here is to give you something that's going to get you further. It's going to take you to your next step. Whether or not you are a business that's trying to sell clothing, you're an artist trying to get your music heard, you're an entrepreneur and you want to go get your station heard, whatever the case, if you come to the station, what you're going to do is you're going to hear some people speaking on some heavy topics. It's going to give you some information to get you to that next step. I've got the show running and we got 3 people in. I'm not going to tell you exactly who the interviewer is, but I will tell you I've got Corey Baker in the room. I want you all to say hello to Corey. I want Corey to tell them, come in and tell them who you are and what you do.
Hello, everybody. My name is Corey Baker. I am the CEO of LTDMG Promotions. I am also a party promoter and event coordinator, as well as an artist. My artist name is Young C Paper. You can find me on www.youngcpaper.com. You can follow me on all social media sites there. I'm here right now with the artist named Young Tech, and here he is. I'll let him tell y'all who he is. And
sweet, man. It's the boy Young Tech. Twice as Clean. You can find me on Twitter. You know what I'm saying? You can find me on all social networks. Twice as Clean on Twitter, specific caps. You can find me on SoundCloud, iTunes, all of that. Young Tech, that's YUNG, you know what I'm saying, TAC. Straight to it.
Yes, sir.
Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go ahead. Excuse me. I said that there was actually 3 people. Now we've got 4. So CJ Featherstone is going to end up dropping in. So that might be 5. If he drops in, it'll be dope, right? Without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and let you all speak to Mr. Ryehean. I'm not going to tell you what his company name is. I'm going to let him tell you. But as in all I learned of this man is Mr. Ryehean, and I found him on Twitter. We connected on Twitter. I loved what he did, and I figured, hey, why not I bring it to the station? Why not I bring it to the show, and I have you all listen and hear in and key in and get some of this knowledge, some of this power that he has to offer. Mr. Ryehean, please introduce yourself.
My name is Ryehean White. I am the founder of FSC Radio Philadelphia. FSC Radio Philadelphia is a indie radio station that's the purpose is to help independent artists gain exposure who, you know, in most cases can't get that exposure. Now, FSC Radio broadcasts 24/7. As well as we have a variety of shows. Those shows consist of Monday, we play rap and hip hop. Tuesdays, we play rock and metal. Wednesdays, we play R&B and pop. Thursdays, we play country as well as podcast shows. Friday, we play EDM. And Saturday, we play DJ sets. And Sunday, we play gospel. Now, FSC Radio has been around for about since 2009, and basically in terms of our views and impressions on Twitter, we get about 750,000, although in some cases we get over 1 million, but on average is about 750,000 impressions, and that consists of supporters, fans, artists, everyone that's following us, whether they're on the show or not on the show, but they all offer their form of support. And as far as FSC Radio, you can find us on Twitter under FSC Radio, Facebook. It's also FSC Radio. Google Plus is FSC Radio Philadelphia. Instagram, FSC Radio, Pinterest, SoundCloud, and I think that's it. There's many more, but those are, you can basically find us under FSC Radio.
Well, so like, ladies and gentlemen, again, as I said, if you're coming into this channel, you're going to be able to get something that's going to be motivational and pushing for you. The topic, of course, is online radio play with FSC Radio. Twitter major. As you heard, his impressions is out of the roof, blowing you out. I don't know what to say about that. I mean, he's doing it. We're going to sit down and we're going to talk a little bit about the company. We're going to speak a little bit about him. Also, too, I want you all to know we are planning to have a weekly show. So you're going to be able to come here and be able to find out why you should do this, why you should do that, for the reasons of this and for the reasons of that. If you come here, you're going to get this info. That's just the way it is. I'm going to put this underneath the playlist. Get this knowledge. You go to that playlist, check it out. It's all about knowledge and empowerment. If you're not putting something in your cranium, you're not doing too well. That's just the fact of it. Again, if you go to the description box, you're going to find lots of links to connect with Mr. Ryehean, FSC Radio. You're going to find this content in the description box. So if you click that and you submit your music, yes, there's a step process, but we need to make sure you're serious. So when you submit your music through there, it's going to grow you, as well as on the side, you're going to be able to put yourself inside of a position that's going to be able to give you more links. People are going to be seeing your traffic. People are going to see things that are going on, and you're going to grow. So, yeah, we're going to go ahead and break on into this interview, and we're going to go ahead and smash it out. We got an hour going in. It's 9:15 now, so we'll actually last until about 10:15, since we're going to break into it now. I want to first ask you, what made you get into radio?
Well, I first was actually creating beats through I think the site is called Loop Labs. It's also known as Music Labs, but I think it's Loop Labs. And I basically made a few beats, and I more so was promoting those and putting them on different platforms just for a hobby. And then, of course, I basically looked at the spectrum in the sense of putting myself in the same shoes of actual artists that are actually trying to gain that exposure. So I decided to create a radio station. At first, it was just for a goof, just to actually prove that I can actually do it. But from that point, it kind of like grew into something a little bigger, grew into a monster in which I didn't anticipate.
All right, so Corey, anytime you want to jump in and ask a question, you're more than welcome. You know, hey, look, you know how it goes on LTDMG Promotions. We do this back and forth. So if whenever you want to jump in, ask a question, you're more than welcome. I'll be out on the backside. But so tell me, take me back to a young Ryehean. Tell me what childhood's like. Tell me what growing up's like. Tell me what's because again, I know how old you are. You can tell the crowd how old you are, but let's just face it, it wasn't natural. Email wasn't the way it is now. There was no Facebook. There was no MySpace. There was one little log like this. You logged in and you did your thing. You know what I mean? Take us back to the young you and express to these people about how you had to adapt to your situation, please.
Young Ryehean, basically that first computer was like a word processor. Didn't have a lot of the avenues as far as your Facebook, your Twitter. The only thing that pretty much I got a chance to dabble into was the beginning structure of MySpace, but that was basically at a later time. So basically, my first computer was, as I said, was a gateway. Cost some pennies to actually get that computer, and from there, I started to learn how to code and learn different aspects of online. But it was a slim opportunity to do things online. That's it.
And so, like, I'm thinking to myself, I'm having some technical difficulties on the other side. I'm not sure exactly what's going in. I don't see paper might have dropped or something like this. But when we're looking, you're here. You're here.
Yeah. I'm just logging in on my laptop right now.
Okay.
Hey, how you doing, man? Y'all make sure y'all do pay attention to details and everything that he's explaining to y'all. It's always great to get into somebody's life. But yeah, on the backside, I'll be over here on this laptop. I'm trying to get in and get joined in. I really appreciate y'all.
So again, Corey, if you got any questions again, I just want you to go ahead and ask them. I saw a call coming in on the other line. I didn't know what was going on. Again, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have Dirtbag Dad come in too, so he's going to get some advice and some knowledge, and he's going to ask his own questions as well. There is a chat box on the side, so if you want to join the conversation on YouTube inside the comment box, if you click on there and you talk to us on side there, we will ask him the questions that you ask and let them know where it came from. But again, so word processor, we're looking at a small computer. We're dealing with small things. Where did you first fall in love? Like, where did the computer first fall in love with? Like, what was the hype behind the computer, and where did that come from?
I mean, the hype was just being able to create like web pages. I mean, that started with my first trade school. I went to Job Corps, and basically I learned a lot about Microsoft Office and that package. And then from there, I kind of went to Computer Learning Center, where I kind of like dove deep into as far as web development, creating databases, and just dabbling in a few things as far as audio and streaming and stuff. That was one of the things that kind of piqued me to create the station, was just that interest of learning how it actually works.
I see. So in school, what are you, A student, B student? What kind of thing are you on here?
I would say middle. I would say maybe like I wasn't an A or B student. I was pretty much someone who just did the work, had a lot on my plate. At the time, I was taking care of my mother before she passed. So I basically had a lot on my plate, but still my focus was to do a lot of these avenues.
Now, while you're dealing with the things on your plate, where does the radio station come into play, and when does it come to play?
Well, it came into play when I first started dabbling with trying to put music together and stuff of that nature. So that was pretty much when I signed up through Loop Labs. That was around, I forget the year, but I would say about 5-6 years back is when I signed up.
I see. Corey just now joined back in. I see. So 5-6 years back, you're getting into the radio play. Ideas come from someone else. Every time when we have our ideas and we go through these things, who's influencing you? Who's giving you your push and motivation?
My motivation was just, it's kind of tough. A lot of different forms of motivation that I basically had, but my motivation more so came from, I would say, just needing to do it. I really didn't have much motivations coming my way.
I see. So Corey, again, anyone want to ask a question, go ahead.
Most definitely. Sorry about that, y'all. I had to switch over from my mobile device onto the laptop. But I'm back and back here with y'all, man. I just want to say, first off, I want to say thank you, and I appreciate you for coming on to this live show. It means a lot to me because of what you do and what you bring to the table. I'm pretty sure that there's been those difficult times
to maneuver, the process moving forward, what does it take for you to continue to achieve what you are achieving today? And what does it mean to you?
Well, it took a lot of studying on a lot of things that I wasn't familiar with, far as SEO and different aspects of how to grow what I was working with in terms of the radio station. But in terms of what it meant to me, it meant a lot. It really it came to be a high priority because of the fact that I've seen, based on allowing artists to gain exposure, the effects, the feedback that they give in terms of by being on the station and receiving, I would say, for some, I've seen some that actually receive nominations to different awards. So it kind of like brought joy to me to know that the station was playing a positive and a prominent role to allowing these artists to gain exposure.
Most of the time people are talking about, hey, I want to pat myself on the back. I want to pat myself on the back. Would you not say through all the progress, that's when you're able to truly pat yourself on the back?
Yes. Yes, indeed.
Yeah. Now, when you're going through this progressive step, you're seeing the progress come through and it's starting to do its thing. How long are you into your project?
In most cases, it's instant. I mean, it could be, I would say, 1 or 2 months in the sense that I see progress. I've seen a lot longer. My latest
I'm saying like from the beginning, right? From when you start. I mean, now you've grown to where you're at now, and progress is, wow, you can see it really quickly. But when you're first going through those steps, like when did you first, like, I'm sure, like, because again, I just want to reiterate this to the people that are listening and that are putting themselves out there to get this up. Whenever you look into how much you actually go out and tweet this person, tweet that person, how many emails you write back, whatever's going on inside your brain, it's a repetitive, non-stopping, idiotic, kept going, moving thing. There's no end to the madness, right? So, like, for you, you're out here submitted, done this, ran into this roadblock, done this. When did you start seeing the end of the light of the tunnel? When was the end of the light of the tunnel something that you were like, all right, I see it peeping around the corner? You know what I mean? When did that come around for you?
See, the thing about it is that the reason why I say about 1 or 2 months or whatever, because that's basically the results I was seeing. I mean, I didn't see things on a scale of, say, the 700 to 1 million, but it was on a small total poll, basically like 500 to 1,000 impressions, and that would have been, that was basically over maybe a couple weeks instead of like a week or a day or whatever. But for the most part, every step of the way was progress because I really wasn't focusing on the numbers. I just kind of woke up and seen how things kind of, skyrocket out of control. I mean, I've had a situation where I needed to do some maintenance to the station because it was kind of acting on the fritz, and it was down for about a week. It came back up, and that reaction doubled. So it kind of falls in along the line when I'm saying in terms of progress was basically 1 or 2 months, but in this situation, it doubling was like a week.
That's awesome. Well, with this business that you've been having going on, who are some of the associates that you have came in contact with? Some of the people that you could say are, your alliances.
I would say iPlugger, the person who basically heads the department of allowing us stations to be connected and be able to contact artists iPluggers. I made, I would say, a close relationship with Erica King's manager. Music and radio, Music and Films is another promo site in which I was able to make a close relationship with the person that heads that.
Now, when you're talking about building these personal relationships, and you're talking about going through these steps of building them, would you say that building your relationship starts at a young age by the friends that we choose and things like this, right? If you're looking into from these aspects, it starts at an early age, but what made you select the friends that you had? Because again, it was the people was it through the internet that you connected with these people? Was it on the face-to-face value? Was this something that, and then also to piggyback on this, give it like a two-piece question. I want to know, whenever you built that relationship, how did you begin to sponge and learn off the individual? Because sure, it's just as easy as listening, but like, what key things and what were the things that you heard from them that took you from this level to that level?
Well, in terms of those relationships, they were mainly online, so it wasn't like a close to close, say, get together. But some of the things I learned was basically from the relationships they've pretty much put in play with a lot of I would say platforms that go through there. So I would say the quick example would be Music and Films. They basically broadcast, they showcase artists as well as they showcase podcast shows. So in terms of those relationships that, say, the head person was able to create, is I kind of learned from that in a sense of providing an opportunity for other shows to actually be on the station. Because at first it was just artists, and then I kind of like switched to providing a platform for like podcast shows.
So after you switched to podcast shows and you switched over to this different platform, so how many hats are you juggling now, would you say?
Well, not that many. It kind of did like add a little to the plate, but for shows that are like, say, on platforms like Spreaker, it kind of helps. It kind of allows me to actually get those shows in rotation quickly in terms of that time slot, because of the fact that Spreaker and shows like maybe like Apple, whatever, use what is called APIs. That's like a direct link where you can broadcast their show on your platform. So I would say for shows that basically provide APIs, I can get them on air. But for the ones that submit manual, it kind of adds more work.
Everything froze up on me. I was trying to go back to my microphone. It wasn't going back in. Ladies and gentlemen, for the blotchiness, I'm just trying to let you all know I'm sharing content out. Everything's going on. And this is a live broadcast. So like if you expect something different, I don't know what you're doing. I might go somewhere else, skedaddle. Anyway, on to the questions. Now, on the daily, we're talking about submissions, the time you have for, the time you don't have. What would you say? How do you crush the work, right? I do know how many submissions you actually get. You know, you've spoken with this, but I know the viewers don't actually know. But how are you crushing all this down, and how do you find the time to manage it? Because again, when we're talking about time management, it is not that easy. People say that's why I only got one Facebook, because I can do this one Facebook and I don't have to worry about it, right? People be like, that's why I only got a SoundCloud, because all I got to do is check my one SoundCloud. People be like, that's why I ain't got no Twitter, because I don't got time to it. So like when we sit back and we think about it and we're actually looking into this path, how are you able to find the time to be able to do all things that are going inside? Because again, I know how many music submissions you get. You're going to be able to tell the people, and then you got to program it. Then you got to write titles. Then you got to put pictures. Take us through a walk of one submission, and then let us know how you break down your time and how do you utilize your time.
One submission, assuming that their title tags are correct in the actual MP3 file. One submission can basically take literally about I would say about 5 minutes in terms of getting it in rotation, because the tools that I have do the legwork in terms of getting the title information into the system.
If they did it right?
If they get it right. If they don't, in most cases, they can be to the bottom of the list because there are a lot of submissions that coming in. So it's more in terms of I'm checking it before it goes into the system, making sure
just sorry not to cut in, but just to pause this. If you don't submit it right, it goes to the bottom of the list.
It can go to the bottom of the list, yes.
I love it, right? Because
oh my God.
I want people to understand that when you go and submit something, it's just as easy. Dirtbag Dad just joined. Dirtbag Dad, thank you so much for being in the room.
Yo, what's going on, bro?
We're actually talking about what happens when you don't submit things properly. We're actually with FSC Radio. If you're just tuning in, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you get this juice. And we're actually talking about what happens if you don't submit the content incorrectly. And Mr. Ryehean, owner of FSC Radio, says if you don't fill out your information right, you're going to the bottom of the list. Hey, Dirtbag, come on, introduce yourself. Tell people what's going on. Shout out your social medias, and then shall we carry on with the interview, please?
Name is Dirtbag Dad. Social media sites, all of them is Dirtbag Dad 270. SoundCloud's Dirtbag Dad. Just plain Dirtbag Dad. Just as it is. Facebook personal page, CJ Featherstone. Look me up on there. That's about it, really. Just doing this thing with itsmontez and LTDMG Promotions.
Dig it. Thank you so much for tuning in. And thank you so much for being on and being a host along with Corey and also Mr. Ryehean. Thank you so much for being in. But now back to the submission process. If you don't fill out the information, you're going to the bottom of the list. Tell me why this is such a factor and why it plays the way it plays for you.
Only because in terms of if I submit the information into the system, then that means that they don't have any artwork. It means that when it's spread on different social platforms, it comes as blank, nothing, just a tweet. And my main focus is, once I get it in rotation, is to spread it as quick as possible on those different platforms. Because once it tweets to Twitter, it spreads on Facebook, and then of course now it's starting to trickle through say your search engines like Bing, Google, and Yahoo. So if that information is not correct, it's going to come across tacky. And I'm so much trying to give them a professional appearance when it comes down to getting their music out there.
So now you're talking about linking, right? You're talking about links. You're talking about where people can find you at. And again, on LTDMG Promotions, that's what we definitely tell people inside the package. It's not you're about your music. It's how many places can I find your music, right? And now maybe we might break into this next segment. Because again, Raymond Loss, my manager, is a great guy. He gives me all the advice. He's helped me get to where I've got to go. But actually, what he thinks is online radio play is not really helping the artist. But then when I piggyback on that and I add something inside of where I see things and I've done things. There is a gentleman that I do some of his video editing. His name's Brandon Maddock. You go back and you look into his content, or Dustin Collins. It's inside the videos. Just go back through the playlist. Because again, this is going to be on a playlist. But when you go back through those things, they tell me that's where they're capitalizing on, is through internet radio play. That's where they're starting to get a whole bunch of gigs. They're starting to get a little bit of revenue income. And it may not be informed on BMI, ASCAP, blah, 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 blah. It may not be in that form. They're getting it on their own kind of form through the music. They're able to say, hey, I'm spun here. I'm able to do this. I'm able to do that. I would love for you to just go in and let me give you like 5-6 minute synopsis of why internet radio play is really key for artists. Internet radio play really will grow an artist. And I want you just to give us that, because again, there's lots of people that are getting the thing started that really don't get that point. They really don't understand that. And I know that through this, they're going to get some understanding. Can you please break that down for me?
I would say internet radio play is, the reason why it's important is because it does allow other avenues, other opportunity platforms to actually find you, to hit you up, contact you. As I said, a lot of my connections that I made was through Twitter, and that was based off of the noise I was making in terms of on that particular platform, which in some cases moved a whole lot faster than Facebook. So with what I was doing on Twitter, as well as the radio station, I was able to reach a lot of people a lot quicker in terms of making connections, as well as on Twitter, a lot of artists that were played on the station was able to be reached by a lot of other stations that decided to follow us.
Guys, if y'all got any questions, CJ, if you got any questions, Corey, if you got any questions, feel free to ask them. I want to know, so through all these processes, and this is causing the gain, where are you spending most of your dollar bills and your promotional? Because again, everything takes money to make it. Where are you spending most of your money?
Well, in terms of far as promotional, for me, it's creativity. In terms of how far I can reach certain fans. A lot of the things I do as far as to generate promotion is based off of things that I'm testing. For example, I posted a video on all the Facebook groups that I'm affiliated with, and they reach basically a lot of pages. I mean, everyone that liked my channel, which was in the 1300s, it reached their channel. And then, of course, I also reached Steve Harvey's show. I'm not sure how it actually reached that, but it actually reached that platform. And then, of course, when I was doing a lot of, as far as spreading the word in my, younger days in different rock platforms, I would see numbers of 1,000, 2,000 views in terms of just spreading that banner. I mean, I'm still I'm working in terms of more optimizing those channels, but a lot of things that I do is basically based off of just seeing how far I can spread something.
Can I add something real quick?
Mm-hmm.
I remember Montez a second ago saying something about somebody saying that internet play doesn't really benefit the artist as much as the actual station and whoever's running the station or the face of the station. My opinion, there's two things as an artist that boosted myself as far as getting people to know who I was and what I do, and growing my following a little bit more. Those two things were my first show and the first time I submitted music to an online radio station, which was through Facebook. I'm not sure if that, it sounds like yours isn't through Facebook, it's through a different route, but for me, it definitely, I mean, maybe not for everybody, I guess, but to me, if you've got anything worth listening to and you put it out there and there's 2, 3, 4, 5,000 people at least tuning in and listening, even if it's not all at one time, but I mean, if you can grab one person's ear, that's one more person that, you know, sends you that request or sends you that follow, and they're in tune with what you're doing, waiting to hear the next new thing that you got, or trying to dig and find more things that you got, which, I mean, in return is definitely gonna build you up as far as plays goes, as far as building that core base following and things like that. But yeah, those are the two biggest things, was my first show through LTDMG Promotions and my first online radio show that I submitted my music in. And then, of course, I've continued to submit my music into this one particular show. And it's allowed me to connect not only with people who just want to listen, but also with other artists, you know, whether it's locally or not so locally. But I've actually grown, as far as Facebook goes, I've grown a whole lot within the last, I'd say, 3 months in that short amount of time, just based off me starting to finally do shows at venues and things like that, and then putting my music out on live radio shows.
That's awesome.
Can I add something? Also on, I'm sorry, I was just checking the mic. Also, when the station is tweeted on, when the station is spread it on Twitter, it's connected with Facebook. So whatever like artwork is actually on Twitter, it's grabbed by Facebook and it spreads on Facebook as well.
That's dope. I had the opportunity to speak to a few radio stations. I forget what this lady's name was, but the radio station was, I guess, something like a corporation, maybe a franchise. There were multiple. So I think they were spreading out to like 40, 50 different states. They all represented the same thing. And I don't know how they're doing now, but I knew that they had festivals that would go on, summer jams that were kicking off. Is there things like that that you are involved in as well, or is this like a single? Because I may have missed that. Is it a single radio, or you? In a sense.
What's going on with this? Okay, can you hear me now? Okay. To answer your question, as far as being involved with a lot of different festivals, no, the station is not involved in a lot of different festivals, but the focus was to actually incorporate that into my radio space, which was the social network, which is the social network I'm currently working on, was to take all those connections that I've made over the years and put those folks in that environment so that I can pump that to a lot of artists that are looking for, places to play, places to actually perform. Actually, what came to mind was, I forget the name of the show, but I ran into a situation when an artist actually needed to move up here and needed different, basically different platforms to perform. And of course, up in Philly, there's a lot of different places where you can perform, World Live Cafe and other venues and stuff like that. But again, there are, places where, like, say down North Carolina or whatever, where the artist may be up here, but not necessarily be able to get down there. But for those that are actually in that area, we can provide that platform. And I was working on to spread it where that venues that are coming up in different cities, you can actually be able to spread that information on a platform.
With inside everything that you're doing, they say you gotta they say you need to love what you're doing, right? You need to have some kind of thing that you really like doing and be able to make money off of it. Now, I don't want to go all inside the aspects of how you make your money and things like that. But do you work a 9 to 5?
Yes, I do.
So again, I want to break this down. You work a 9 to 5, and you're still working on all your internet work. How do you find the time?
A lot of times they're on a weekend, and other times it can be on a weekday. But with what I'm doing in terms of optimizing the submission process, a lot of those submissions don't take that long.
But I mean, still, and yet, like, you still have to program it. You still have to fumble through these things, and sure, I mean, this is the second time you said no, it doesn't take that much time, but man, so I guess some people aren't equipped for those kinds of things. Whenever you're looking into where you see yourself having to spend the most time, where is it? If it's not the music submissions, where are you spending most of your time whenever it comes to creating your content there?
I would say the most time is basically cleaning up those submissions that don't come in correctly. And I pretty much, the reason why I said I kind of put it to the bottom of the pile is because I get the ones out of the way that are correct. And then, of course, more so on the weekends, I spend that time cleaning up those submissions that are correct. And the reason why I kind of put it to the bottom of the pile is because a lot of things could actually occur in terms of that submission. And I, for the most part, created my radio space so that artists can actually log in and correct their information. So it'd be pretty much a situation where their music will be on the platform, which is the future, be on a platform, and they'll be able to edit that information on the fly so that, you know, we can make that smooth transition. But for the most part, as far as like getting submissions in, it doesn't take that long, but that majority of the time is spent as far as cleaning that stuff up.
Dig it. Dirtbag, again, Dirtbag Dad, if you want to ask any questions, go ahead. Feel free, jump in. Not sure where Corey went, but again, I want to catch you up to speed. This is the online radio. You know what, Mr. Ryehean, why don't you please tell him again who? I mean, not him again, but everyone again. What is it that you do? How long you've been doing it? Where you got it from, so I can catch up Dirtbag Dad up to speed and what things are going on. Like I said, Corey dropped out. Hopefully he'll be back in again. You know how the internet goes. It's in, it's out, it's wishy-washy. So go ahead, please give Dirtbag Dad a little bit of information about who you are, what goes on inside your Twitter live, how many impressions you normally get, and this kind of thing, so you can bring him up to speed. Dirtbag Dad, if you're not speaking, please hit that mic.
I'm Ryehean White, the founder of FSC Radio Philadelphia. FSC Radio was created to provide a platform for independent artists seeking to get exposure. We broadcast a variety of shows over 7 days. Monday, we play rap and hip hop. Tuesday, we play rock and metal. Wednesdays, we play R&B and pop. Thursdays, we play country alongside of podcast shows that may air in rotation on the station. Fridays, we play EDM. Saturdays, DJ sets. And Sundays, we play gospel music. We broadcast 24/7. And over those shows, the impressions that we get are about 20,000 or more per show. But in terms of overall monthly, we receive about between 700,000 to 800,000 impressions, with the point of some shows getting us about over 1 million. But on average, on like a daily basis, it's about 20,000. But I've seen situations where the show spiked to about 60,000, and that can come off of the eve of a show transitioning. But that's basically it.
So you said that the show airs 24/7.
Mm-hmm.
How do you make that? I don't want you to give stuff away that you hold as an importance to yourself, but how? Because you mentioned you work a 9 to 5 as well. So how are you able to have this going 24 hours in a day on these select genres for each day?
Remotely.
Okay. So while you're doing your 9 to 5, you're also still in control of these shows that are going on, or do you have other people behind the scenes with you?
Actually, I'm in control of those shows that are going on.
Okay. So, but I'm guessing most of the time you also have like a playlist, so to speak, in case you can't, get to it right away, things like that, to where you're not constantly, okay, next song this. Okay. And what does FSC stand for?
Fresh Start Cloud Radio.
Fresh Start Cloud?
Cloud.
Okay. And so you said Mondays was rap and hip hop.
Mm-hmm.
Tuesdays was
rock and metal.
Wednesdays was R&B and pop.
Mm-hmm.
And then you said Thursdays was podcasts, and what else did you say?
Country.
Country. Okay. Explain to me like the podcast setting of this. What types of podcasts are these? Are these visual podcasts? Are they all audio?
All audio.
All audio. So is this station pretty much all audio station through, and it's through Twitter Live, correct?
Yeah, well, through Twitter.
It's through Twitter?
Mm-hmm. Not as far as the live portion. Are you talking about like Periscope or something like that?
Yeah, I guess so. Because I'm only familiar really with like Facebook Live radio shows. So there's like, of course, you've got your face to the show, or you might have a couple faces, and then they'll talk about what's playing or whatever, and tell you what's
right. So like to pile on what he's saying, and CJ, correct me if I'm wrong. What you're pretty much trying to say is, how are you broadcasting this? Is this through XFM? Is this through a Blog Talker Radio? Is this through SoundCloud? Are you doing this on YouTube? And then to add on to what he's saying, the visual part, is there a visual? Is there something that we see, or is it audio? Now, of course, I know, and the audience doesn't know, and as well as Dirtbag doesn't know. But I want you to tell them how the audio works exactly, because, again, we're talking about the other day, whenever we were on the phone, we were talking about how the picture matters so much. How the picture, thank you, Corey, for joining back in. We're talking about the value of the picture and audio. But can you tell them about the audio and how that works and how that picture works within inside those platforms, as well as how are you holding this? Is this on what kind of platform? Is this Blogger? Is this Blog Talk Radio? Is this Mixcloud? Where are you? Or is this SoundCloud? Where are you doing these kinds of things? Hey, Dirtbag Dad, did I kind of hit that on the head for you?
Perfect.
Actually, it's through the various different platforms, like for example, Shoutcast or Icecast. It's something that I host on my own server, in which stations like TuneIn, Streamer, they will tap the feed, and then of course it broadcasts on those different platforms. So for example, TuneIn will pick up the TuneIn has access to the feed. So for their audience that tunes into the station, they can hear it there, or any other platform that, say, taps our feed, they can actually hear it live, on that particular platform. Or if they go to the station, they can actually hear it. But it's not like a Mixcloud or a SoundCloud or whatever. It's a basic stream that I provide. And those different platforms tap the stream, and it broadcasts through their various directories.
So if somebody was following you on Twitter, What I'm guessing is you put a link out to where the stream is actually at?
Absolutely.
Okay.
When a song is played, and it was a few things I kind of added in terms of when a song is played, the now playing link to that particular artist is shared, and then when you click on that link, the player is actually on that page. Or if you came to the website, you can actually tune in there. Or if you heard about us through, say, TuneIn Radio, if you went directly to the station or did a search for FSC Radio, you can actually listen right there.
Nice, nice. Hey, everybody, I'm so sorry about me jumping in and jumping out, jumping in and jumping out. What's really going on is this computer, not too long ago, went to sleep. They said good night, and I put the charger back in it. That way, should be woken back up. And now we're here. I don't know if you guys got to actually hear. Well, I don't know. I didn't get to hear if there was a response or to the question that I was trying to propose. But
go ahead, ask it again, bro. Ask it again, man. Go ahead and ask it again.
Awesome. I sure will. I ask again. My question was more of like a just talking. Is there more of let me get this right, FCS or FSC Radio?
It's FSC Radio.
Yes. Is your company the only one, or is there multiple? And also, you know, are there opportunities for artists to gain exposure through shows, maybe festivals, and things in that nature?
It's actually just it's one station. As far as festivals, I was more so working on actually being able to pump those vents through my radio space, which is another website I created where artists, it's still connected to FSC Radio, but it's the site that I set up so that artists can actually update their artwork in case that something is not correct or whatever. But it's also going to be like a social platform in which I'll be able to host and be able to feed that information to artists. So if they're looking for a show in their area, trying to get that to the artists so that they will, you know, they'll show up or they'll know exactly where to perform.
Man, I think that is really awesome because I work actually with a guy. I just got into a written agreement with him, and we're going to be working together. We actually made a personal relationship over, I would say, the count of 90 days, just speaking here and there. And he owns a radio station, and he says, "Hey man, look, I can bring in about 60 artists. You know, wherever you are, I bring them." I said, "Hey, look, you know, I'm working on this tour, Year of the Youngin' tour that's coming up here soon for a local artist here in Hardin County by the name of B-Lee. He just released his album, and his album is called Year of the Youngin'. I've also been working with Rock the Mic USA, which is a tour that's going on. It's been going on for some years now, and to be able to have a partnership with, you know, a radio station, it can go from 0 to 100. In my imagination, I've seen people work together, you know, and I can believe if as long as there's a designated area, you know, for these artists. I mean, am I just talking to myself? Because I'm pretty excited just speaking about it. You know what I mean? I'm pretty excited just speaking about it. Have you found interest in working with event coordinators or promoters in, you know, any other local areas, maybe different states and stuff like that? Does that come of interest to you?
I mean, it does come of interest, but and a lot of times I've never really got around to actually working with different local coordinators. I know of a few, but not many. But that's always been my interest, was to, you know, because I love to network with a lot of people. But you don't always get that opportunity, because in terms of like local coordinators, you do have to, you know, actually venture out and be able to establish something, but it's not always a lot of time in the day to actually do so.
That would actually be of no problem, you know, to be able to, you know, come into a commence contract, you know, of such a nature, because I would like to gain that relationship with you, where you know, here right on the spot, you know, on itsmontez.com, you know, we are making a personal relationship right now. You know what I mean? We're talking and chatting, and this is how it works is by, you know, with your comfort, you know, I would make sure that you have, you know, your own hotel or something like that of an expense. What
you get when we're looking into this, like all the other deals that we're talking about and all those other things, we'll be able to permit those after what's going on. Corey, I know you're excited. You're totally into it. You're like, hey, how can we grow? You're in, right? But we'll save that.
Yes.
Yeah, right. I know where your mind's at. And I was like thinking when I was talking to him, I was like, man, so he's pretty much, you know, on that. We will definitely discuss that after you know, this interview, because we only here it's 10:04. We're getting ready to shut off here soon, and but I wanted to
excuse me, everybody. I'm sorry.
It's all right. Ask away. Let me go in and ask you more questions. Go ahead. Keep going, you know.
What's going on, sir? I got a question for you. Actually, you know, I heard you earlier talking, and you were saying how, you know, every day of the week you have a different genre of music, or multiple different genres of music that play every day of that week. So as an artist, I think it'd be interesting for people to know which days of the week, like which genres of music that you host, pop the most, I guess you could say. You know, like, you know, we listen to local radio stations ourselves, and we'll know, like, on certain days we'll realize, oh man, this song repeated, you know, 100 times, or things of that nature. What I'm asking is, as an artist, out of all the different categories and genres of music that you have and that you inquire from, you know, being an internet radio host, what days are best for your internet radio business? You know what I'm saying? What genres pop the most? What days do you have more people tuning in, and what genres are those in correlation to?
I would say always Sunday is a very high volume day. Pouring over to Mondays as well as Wednesday, and I would say Friday as well. Those are the.
And you said Monday was your R&B, and
Wednesday is the R&B.
Okay, that's cool.
Monday is the rap and hip hop.
Okay. And
Sunday is the gospel.
That's definitely what's up. I feel like as an artist, that's very important. I also feel like as up and coming artists, that's very important to know, because, you know, one thing to know about artists is they can get a little creative. So we might be out here on our own, try to link up with a rock star. You see what I'm saying? And boom, now we send you something that you're gonna play on this day, and then you see how that's just my train of thought as a up and coming artist.
I forgot to add on Tuesdays is rock and metal, and that's like a different animal as well. In terms of lately, it's been really crazy in terms of people responding. I mean, even to the point of the support that they show in terms of different artists that are added to the list.
I tell you what, we went through a bump, and for some reason Twitter is doing this kind of thing. And again, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be a constant show. I'm seeing the interaction in on the YouTube. Got a couple of thumbs down. I don't know why I got them. It's kind of funny, but nevertheless, yeah, this is going to be a weekly show. So whether you like it or not, get over it, get to it, and I don't care. So what I'm trying to say is this much, looking into knowing that we're going to do this weekly show and breaking into this new content, where exactly is like the brain and as in for the artist coming in? Because again, how we met each other was kind of really different. 34 retweets over a comment. It was just like, man. And so I'm trying to think to myself, it's not because again, you get all these retweets, you get all these tweets. How does a person get a hold of someone of such stature? And can you please like just lay that down on the line? Because again, I want everyone to be able to close off, tell who they are and things like that. It's 10:08. I will carry it a little bit longer. You might go at least to like 10:25, but by then I want you to be able to get back to work and doing what you're doing. But definitely tell us how someone could get in more interaction with someone of such stature and what they do. How do they convince that connection there?
I'm actually down to earth. I plaster my email on the left column of my Twitter channel, and try to make sure that everyone knows what the email is. So if they need to submit, if they need to inquire about business inquiry, or if they need promotion, they also can inbox me right away. That situation just happened to be a fluke in terms of how we actually met, as well as I did explain how. I mean, I'm not sure if you've seen the the stats that I sent you for as Twitter.
Yes, I got the stats. I'm actually going to download that to my screen while you're talking, and I'll be able to show them to the people and be like, hey, look, here's the stats for real. So as you're talking, I'll go ahead and download it, and then I'll share my screen to the world. So go ahead, keep on going.
But a lot of cases, we try to follow as much people as we can, so that we can have that interaction. I know in terms of like Twitter, you have to actually be following a person in order to send a message. And we've tried that. I've tried that on times where Twitter will freeze your following interaction, which makes no sense because these are people that are following me and I can't follow them back. So it kind of like causes, say, that friction in terms of being able to contact. So what I do is I try to, as much as I can, plaster my email inside my Twitter profile so that folks can actually contact me on anything that they need, as far as the chat, as far as communicating, networking. But that's what I actually try to do.
I'm going to go ahead and share my screen right now because I got it here. I'm just going to pull it up inside my email. Boom, here we are, sharing the screen. And as you can see, this is the email I got from him. And this is the Twitter feed here. And you can see 31K followers and 180K tweets. So like the hustle is real. So let's go ahead and get into these analytics. Boom. This is 2017 summary. Mentions 518. Tweet impressions 753K. And this is how many tweets he sent out. Yeah, even if you double this right here, this here 9,700 or 9,075, even if you double it, you're still not touching impressions. It's just stupid. And here's the thing though, check out how many people are visiting. Do you see this math right here? Look, that's just something small. Let me show you something else, right? Again, he lost his followers here, but still look at this. Look at this. And he didn't even get as many followers as he normally do, but still look at this. How many tweets he's sending out. The mentions. The impressions. Are you understanding these impressions here? So when we're talking about this man putting out work, we'll go back to this again. Positive here. 3,865 brand new followers coming into the profile. Half of, pretty much all of his new visits, except for like maybe like 30 to 40 different people didn't decide they wanted to come on through. That didn't come in, come from the profile visit, that didn't be a new follower. And then look at our impressions. Pow. Now, I'm just saying, when we stop and we look at this whole as in and all, where does your learning come from? Because again, Twitter's not easy. It's hard. I get about 74,000 impressions within my 28, and for me, I was like, oh, I deserve one of these. You know what I mean? But dear Lord, have mercy, you over here. What? Please, can you shed some light on us, please?
Well, let me see. One of the things I've found that increases our traffic is it may sound stupid, but it actually works. And someone actually looked at it and was like, a lot of people don't get it, but someone that I know looked at the Twitter handle and was like, why is that period there? And I was explaining to him because he was thinking that it was spelled incorrectly. But in terms of that period, for some reason, it actually touches a lot of profiles. So if I'm sharing to a person that has millions of followers or whatever, in most cases, it will touch a lot of their followers. They actually see it.
I want to give a shout out. I'm sorry to cut in real quick. Miss Raz is inside the chat room right now. Her name's Raz, please. So, hey, I just want to shout you out. Thank you so much for coming in and typing inside the box. But yeah, he's got this perfect interview going on. Hope you can get some information out of this. Thank you.
And that actually, as far as the period, came from someone who actually knows how to interact with a lot of Twitter followers. But since I pump out a lot of content, and the fact of putting that period and a lot of in front of the actual @ sign, it actually reaches a lot of people. And then, of course, on top of the fact that the station tweets a lot of content, the combination of the two kind of helps.
So what you're saying is so you've got your Twitter handle, you're at whatever, and then for your name that you can change at all times on Twitter, it's just simply a period.
In most cases, yeah, it's a period. Like, for example, when I'm tweeting out an artist's song to be played or whatever, when I'm mentioning them, just by putting a period in front, it allows a lot of that artist's fan base to actually see the tweet. Because Twitter has something where if that handle is at first or whatever in front, it kind of works as like a direct message. So only that person will actually see it. Whereas though, if the handle is a little further in the actual whatever tweet you're sending with the period in front of it, it will allow that person's fan base to actually see that handle. And I haven't even gotten into the point of tweeting different lists on Twitter. If you're saying 700 and something thousand, by me contacting all the lists that are following me, which are like 400 and something, I forgot to mention that, I'm sorry, but 400 and something lists that are following me also have supporters. If I were to mention that would kind of like drop things over in the millions. Okay,
so for somebody who may be trying to figure out how to build their Twitter, you would strongly recommend putting something in front of, if they're going to send a tweet out and it's directed towards somebody else on Twitter, put something, anything, even if it's just a period before their Twitter handle when they actually send that out. That way other people can see it.
No, actually just put that period. It's just the period. It's the period. So if you're doing a message or whatever, put the handle inside the message, not the first thing that they send out, and then put a period in front of each @ sign.
Right. So what's basically like it's breaking up the what's going out. Is that what is it breaking up the? How's that working, right? Because I don't even understand that. Like, I thought I was pretty good at what I did, and I don't even understand this. Here, like, go a little bit deeper. Like, what is this doing? Is this breaking up the tag, or what is this doing now? Putting that period there, because I've always heard. I remember Gary Vaynerchuk. Shout out to Gary V, man. He's get the best content. I remember speaking with him, and he was saying, or listening to his content, and just going through the conversations through Twitter, he was saying that if you add something before the @ mark that had to do with that person talking, it would do it all within symbol. But you're saying add a period before the @ sign of every person you're adding?
Yes.
Now, how does that work, and what's it doing? Like, what's it separating? What's it causing to flip there?
I mean, I always put the comma and kind of like put a space so it doesn't get, mixed up with the actual Twitter handle. Because, when you put the @ sign, it changes blue or whatever. But I always separate those handles. But just by putting that period in front of the @ sign of each person that you're tweeting, I've seen some crazy numbers.
So you don't know exactly what, I guess, in the Twitter world, the algorithm that it's causing to happen. You just know that it's beneficial to do this. You don't know exactly why or the reason behind it. You just know that it works.
Yes. In terms of, it was never shared as to what it actually does, only that it was explained that it allows the people, that whoever you're sending the tweet to, it allows their followers to see that post. Whereas though, if you just sent the handle as the first part of the sentence, it will only allow that first person to see the post.
All right, so that's pretty much where I was at with it, though. It's like, so as long as you don't have to put a period in front of, like, say if I do a tweet and I do @C Paper @Mr. Fit the DJ, but now I put period @Mr. Fit the DJ, period @C Paper, period @Dirtbag Dad. I don't have to do that. All I have to really do is at the beginning put what I'm trying to say and then add the @s, right?
Right. Meaning your message, then you add the handle, but in front of each handle, you make sure you put a period. And just make sure that it's... Still include the period. Say it again?
Still include the period then.
Absolutely.
Dig it. New knowledge for me. Hey, we're getting ready to close out, ladies and gentlemen. It's 10:20. Dirtbag Dad, you go ahead, tell them who you are. We'll follow up with Corey. I'll say, I'll introduce you one more time to Mr. Ryehean, owner of FSC Radio, and then we'll close on out there. But Dirtbag Dad, go ahead, tell them who you are, and give your, if you got any questions for him, any more things last at this end, let's go ahead and get it through so we can end this interview.
All right, like I said, my name's Dirtbag Dad, local artist out of Radcliffe, Kentucky, trying to branch out even further. All the social medias is Dirtbag Dad 270. SoundCloud is soundcloud.com /DirtbagDad. Also Facebook on Tuesday nights. I've got a live podcast that also goes up on SoundCloud, just the audio file, of course, but it's called Out the Mud, covering anybody doing anything creative, and not just in a local sense, but anybody anywhere that's not necessarily so established. It's not anybody big name, but anybody trying to, what the name of the show is called, Out the Mud. We cover anybody from clothing designers to singer-songwriters, musicians, whatever the case may be, even people like itsmontez.com. I can't remember your name at the moment, but somebody like you, we'd even, that would be somebody we would look for as well. I had a live radio station for the very first episode on the show. So anybody doing anything creative, tune in my Facebook page, CJ Featherstone, 9 p.m. every Tuesday night.
I go by the name of Corey Baker, everybody. I am the owner of FSC Promotions. I am the event coordinator as well as a promoter, as well as an artist. My artist name is Young C Paper. You can find me on www.youngcpaper.com, YOUNGCPAPER.com. You can listen to my music on there, photos, go through the bio, the whole 9 yards. I am an entrepreneur, and I'm seeking out in all areas. So if you're interested in what I have to offer, please do. I have open arms to anybody and everybody. I really appreciate being on the show. Thank you, Montez. and everybody else that is here.
Hey, I forgot Young Tack. Young Tack, I forgot you. I'm sorry, man. I didn't. It's just that normally you're not here. Now you're here. Hey, go ahead, close out, man.
It's definitely all good, Montez. But it's the boy Young Tack, aka Twice as Clean. That's Young with no O. You could follow me on Instagram. That's It's Young Tack with a Z. It's Young Tack. I'm on SoundCloud. I'm on Instagram, all the other social media. My bad. But it's Young Tack, YUNGTAC. Twitter is Twice as Clean, and that's all caps. And check me out.
Yeah, before we get off there, what I want to do is I want to go ahead. What I want to do is I want to go ahead and end off with a question. Because I always end the show like this. Every show I do, I mean, everybody, hey, Montez, you're repetitive. Stop that, pal. Right? No, I'm just gonna keep on trying and keep on doing it. At the end of the show, what I like to do is have you ask the question. I can steal it from Gary V. Gary V gave me a great idea. So, no, but is there any question that you would like to ask the audience? Because, again, like I told you, what I'm going to be doing is cutting this up and sending it and blasting it all. And, again, I'm not sure what day we worked out for our weekly show, but go ahead and let everyone know about the weekly show and stuff like that. And then but your question first and foremost.
Any question?
No, I'm saying your question. Any question at all. It doesn't matter what it pertains to. This is about you right now and you asking the question to the audience. You ask it. I'll edit it. It'll be at the front of a couple videos, and people are going to answer the question back on it. They're going to do it. But no, any question at all, off the hip, shoot it off the muscle, whatever you got, ask it, please.
Actually, no question actually comes to mind right now. Give me some time to think about it.
Oh, wow. Really? Really? Wow. Oh, my gosh. We're going to end like this? You don't have no question at all? I know you got one question, one good question that we could end on, one good one.
I got a question for you, Montez. I cover your back, man. I got your back. I got a question for you, Montez.
All right, thank you.
Okay. My question is, we've been working for some time, and for years. We've been knowing each other since high school. But just on a personal level, what came to mind and what gave you the passion to start itsmontez.com?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's the question. I'm going to definitely make sure we do an episode. I'm not going to answer it right now because if I answer it right now, then you're going to want, you know what I mean? Like it's going to I'll answer the question. What we'll do is, hey, maybe on LTDMG Promotions, you can host me on there and ask me. But I will definitely, we will find some kind of way to air because you put me on the spot there, actually. But yeah, I definitely want to have to break this down a little bit. Yeah, you put me on the spot. I'm going to have to, the tables have been turned. We will definitely make sure we do this on another round. Thank you for the question, Corey. But yes, we will get that done. Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching itsmontez.com. You saw Young C Paper Corey, Dirtbag Dad, CJ Twice as Clean, Mr. Ryehean, owner of FSC Radio. As you know on this show, I want to give you the best advice. I want to give you something that's going to take you on to the next step. Like I said, me and Mr. Ryehean do plan on having a weekly, and I presume everyone that was on the show right now, you could probably see them and hear from them again because I'm pretty sure they're going to want to join in and ask their questions just the same. Make sure you're going to LTDMG Promotions. Spoke about it here on the film. There's lots of content on that side that you can check out. Make sure you check out BLK Top Radio. Jordan Hutcherson's got some things going on his radio station. He takes submissions. Make sure you go check out Dirtbag Dad Show, Out the Mud, every single
Tuesday.
All right, thank you. All right, good stuff. Every single Tuesday, you can go watch Out the Mud, and it's going to be live on Dirtbag Dad's page. Young C Paper, Corey Baker's always putting out new stuff. LTDMG Promotions is the content you can find. He also's got Team C Paper. You can go check out that YouTube as well. Twice as Clean, Young Tack, he's definitely working on his content. But first and foremost and all of all, make sure you go submit your music to FSC Radio. If you don't do that, I don't know what you're doing. It's Montez McCamish from itsmontez.com. Mr. Ryehean, thank you so much for being on.
You're welcome, Montez. And thanks everyone else for joining.
I look forward to doing this show. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Montez.com. Like, comment, subscribe, and share. If you don't do that, you're not going to be able to keep up. Duh.